If you often find yourself going on binges where you just can't control your cravings, you can't resist your urge to eat, and you're just eating all the time and everything, this podcast is for you. You can subscribe to the Fat Guy No More podcast on iTunes or the Google Play Store by searching for Fat Guy No More. I'm not a doctor. Nothing I say is intended to cure, prevent, or diagnose any disease. Before beginning any weight loss plan or exercise plan, you should consult with your physician. Hey, I am the amazing shrinking vegan fat guy. My name is Brett Mason. Thanks for hanging out with me today. You can find us online at veganfatguy.com, and you can subscribe to us on iTunes and the Google Play Store, which is the easiest way to make sure you never miss an episode. We're in the process of changing that name over, so I apologize for this being complicated, but search for Fat Guy No More, and if that doesn't come up, search for Amazing Shrinking Vegan Fat Guy. Now, the easiest way to do it is I've just linked everything up for you at our website. So if you go to brettmasonmedia.com, which is the media company this podcast is a part of, you'll see a page for every one of our shows. And at the bottom of every one of those pages for those shows, it's just a link you can click, and it'll take you either to the Google Play Store if you're Android or to iTunes if you are iOS. So there's several ways you can find us. That's probably the simplest. And as a matter of fact, I think if you just type in Vegan Fat Guy, it'll take you right to the episodes page. So veganfatguy.com, click on any episode at the bottom, quick links to subscribe. That's the easiest way to make sure you don't miss the shows. I hate to start out the podcast by giving complicated instructions, but I often get questions, people asking me how they can subscribe or how that works. We even had one person who's never subscribed to a podcast before in their life wanted so bad to subscribe to this, so it would just show up on their phone or their iPad or their other tablet, and they would just have it. So I want to make sure that that's clear. So we're going to talk about binge eating today. Now, look, I'm a food addict. One of the first steps to me getting a grip on my eating and my shedding of the weight, and it's still at 50 pounds. I'm at a plateau. I actually just did a video about my plateau. And if you're interested in that, you can go search for Amazing Shrinking Vegan Fat Guy on YouTube. And that's also at the Facebook page. I'm going to post a link to that so you can find it there as well. And we'll talk about that more at the end of the show because I feel like I've gotten off in the weeds with the technical stuff early, and I want to just jump right into what you're listening for. So binge eating, it happens. Admitting I was a food addict was one of the big things that helped me. And the other thing that's helped me is really concentrating hard on why I'm addicted, why I treat food not just as fuel, but as medicine, as a friend, as a psychologist, and all the other many things that I treat it as. So all those things have helped. And I'm going to do more on that in another show because I think it's important, because I think for most people, not everybody, some people have strictly a medical reason for being overweight. It's hormonal imbalances. It's chemical imbalances in the brain. It's parts of the body not functioning correctly. But most people, it's a very complicated issue. It's a psychological issue, and treating it as strictly a willpower issue or a medical condition is not going to work, and that's why so many people can't lose weight. God, it took me so long in life to understand that. Binge eating is a part of that food addiction, though, and it's the cravings come. I know that I have literally no control over food, and unfortunately, the foods that we generally crave or are addicted to, we're not only addicted to them psychologically or for the many various psychological, emotional reasons, but there's also an actual chemical part of the food that's addicting. That's the way they make it. They pack it full of fat. They pack these foods full of sugars. And so if you ever get into a binge where you're eating these crappy foods, then that addiction kicks in, which combined with your emotional, psychological addiction combined is nearly unstoppable. It's nearly an unstoppable force. And if you don't believe it is, then you've never been there and you don't have the problems I've talked about. But if you have been there, then you do know what I'm talking about. It's overwhelming. Now, the difference between me today and the me of the past, this is why I know that I'm going to be healthier and continue to get healthier. I don't know how long I'm going to live. So I don't know if I'll ever be really, really healthy. I could die a year from now, and I probably will not have achieved my weight and health goals by then because I have so much to do. But if I live long enough, I'm going to get there, and I know why I'm going to get there. Because I understand it, and I've accepted it, and I've dealt with all these things on all these various levels. So I know there's a lot of you that can relate to that. That's why you listen to this show. And binge eating is the toughest. So you get into that spiral. And so what would happen to me before, and it's probably what's happened to you, is maybe even at the end of a day, like you haven't even made it past day one of this crazy binge. You just give up. You're just like, screw it. I can't. I'm a failure. I'm always going to be fat. Every time I move, 2 steps forward, I take a step back, or even worse, and there's just no point. And then all that kicks in, and it adds to the emotional addiction, to the psychological addiction, to the actual food addiction, and all this stuff. It just becomes unsurmountable. It becomes something you literally can't overcome, and you just give in. And then 4 days, 8 days, 12 days pass, and you're just still eating this way. Next thing you know, you've gained all the weight you've lost back. You've hit this level of being out of control again. You don't have control of your eating. You don't have control of your mind. You don't have control of your body. You don't have control of your spirit. And you've lost it all. I know. Trust me. So the first thing I would tell you to do is you have to resist that urge to give up hope after a day. You have to resist that urge to give up hope after 2 days. And God forbid you go 3 days or 4 days into this uncontrollable binge. You have to abandon this idea of giving up hope. And here's what you need to replace it with. You need to be looking desperately for any kind of moment, whether it be 10 seconds or 10 minutes or an hour. At some point in time, a window will appear, and it always comes if you're looking for it. It's your window to jump out. It's your window to bail out of this insanity, and it may be short. It may be 60 seconds. It may be for just 1 minute. Suddenly, you reach a place of clarity. You reach a place of understanding what's happening. You reach a place of getting some control and wanting all the control back. And when that minute arrives, you have to grab it and you have to jump off that train. You have to leap off that train and run with everything within your being. Run like your life depends on it, because it does. Your life, your very life, depends on you jumping out. Obviously, the earlier that moment comes in your binge, the better for you it'll be. If you binge out one afternoon and then you binge out again 2 hours later, and then it's 9 o'clock at night, and you have this moment, this brief moment where clarity sets in, purpose sets in, and an understanding that is something that you can use, just a small thing that you can use and bail out, obviously that'd be best, because you've only got a half a day down or a day. Clearly, if you're 2 days in or 3 days in or 4 days in, it's going to be more difficult because everything will have compounded, but you still have to be searching. Look, don't beat yourself up. The first thing you need to do once you recognize you're in a binge cycle is accept it. Accept that you're in a binge cycle and accept that it's okay. If you will do that, your moment of clarity will come sooner. Resist the urge to feel like a failure. Resist the urge to feel like a loser. Resist the urge to feel like somebody who is incapable of doing anything, because I know that feeling. I have felt it too many times. So you combat that very, very easily. You just accept it. Accept that you are in a binge eating cycle. Accept that it's normal and it happens to thousands and thousands of people every day. Accept that it's a part of your emotional, psychological, and even the chemicals in the food addiction. Understand that there is a reason for it, and understand that it is not controlling you. Understand that it is just a part of you, and if it's a part of you, you can gain control back. Just accept it. Don't freak out. Don't go to that dark place, whatever you do. even though it will be dark for you in the fact that you are in a binge eating cycle that you can't control, do not go to a dark place. Just breathe and reflect and understand that this is temporary. I will get control of it. It's normal for me. I'm working on making where it's not normal, but I'm not there yet, and everything's going to be okay. There's no point in me abandoning everything I've worked for up to this point because of what's happening to me right now. I'm still going to win. Just tell yourself, I'm still going to win. This is a normal part of a healing process. Getting into a binge is a normal part of a healing process. It's those old demons, those old psychological issues, those old emotional issues, those deep dealt things that go back to your childhood. They are rearing their ugly head. There's something that's a part of you. Accept that it's a part of you and understand that you will get control of it. Understand that you are still in charge. Understand that you will still succeed. You will still win, and begin looking for that moment where you can bail out. Know that it's coming and be prepared for it when it comes. Know that it's coming and be prepared to spot it and take action when it comes. Oh, God, I wish I could drill this into everybody's head like I've had to drill it into mine. Please, please, if you don't listen to anything else in this podcast, listen to this. Understand that your moment of redemption is coming. Be on the lookout for it. And be prepared to take immediate action when that moment arrives, whether it's 10 seconds, 30 seconds, or an hour, whatever that window is. Know that it's coming, and know that you will recognize it, and know that you will take action when it comes. And when it comes, you bail out of it. Don't let it depress you. Know that it's normal. No, it's not perfect, but know that it's normal. Know that it's not perfect, but nothing is perfect, and know that it's normal. All that matters is what's best and worst. There's best case scenarios and there's worst case scenarios. Understand that you're just in a worst case right now. Understand that it's just on a scale of things that can happen during a normal day. You're on the worst end of it, but you will recover. Know that you're going to jump out of this binge. Know that you're going to get back on track. And know that you will not lose so much time that you will not be able to recover from it, because you will. Your goal is overcoming a lifetime of issues. So don't worry about a 1, 2, or 3 or 4 day binge. That's the least of your worries. Just convince yourself, compel yourself, reassure yourself that this 1 day, 1 hour, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day binge is the very least of your worries right now. The biggest thing that you have to do is overcome the lifetime that led you to being overweight, not this 1 hour binge, not this 1 day binge, not this 3 day binge. You have to get your mind in that place if you ever want your mind to get back in control again. Now, I hope that I've stressed all that enough so that I can give you the follow-up steps, because when that moment comes for you and you jump off of that train and you get out of that binge and you're rolling down the hill from the train tracks to safety, when you come to a complete stop, you have to take measures to intervene in your mind and in your body to end this. And this will be the hard part. Well, it's all hard. I know it's all hard. Understanding that the binge is okay, that it's not optimal, but it's normal. Understanding that it's just but a small part of what you're battling. You're actually battling an entire previous life. And so battling a 2 or 3 day binge is not a problem. And then knowing what to do is going to be tough. They're all going to be tough, but you can do them. I promise you can do them. I promise you, with everything that's within me and every fiber of my being as a lifelong food addicted, psychologically disturbed in relationship to food, emotionally connected to food, broken person who has reached to this point mentally, I promise you that you can do it. You've got to reset your body. You've got to reset your brain. You've got to reset your taste buds. You've got to reset all of that stuff. And this is the best way I know to reset it. You got to fast. You got to do a fast. It doesn't have to be a long fast, but it has to be a short fast. It's going to do a couple things. It's going to reset your taste buds. It's going to reset your body. And probably the most important thing of all, it's going to reset your brain. And then finally, it's going to give you confidence that you have taken control back. You will feel victorious. You will be victorious. So let me give you a couple of examples of what this means and how it can look for you. You break your binge at 9 o'clock at night. That moment to bail out of the binge train happens, and you jump to safety and you roll down the side of the hill and you come to a stop and you're like, I have ended this. I have ended this right now. What does the fast mean? Well, you obviously don't eat anything else the rest of that night, but drink a ton of water. When you go to bed that night, make sure you have drink a ton of water. When you wake up the next morning, you do not get food. You may have some hunger pains early. They may last 20 minutes, 30 minutes, may last an hour, but I promise you they will subside. You drink water. You feel hunger, you drink water. You feel hunger, you drink water. That's all you do that next morning. When lunchtime comes, you do not eat food. You just do not eat food. You just don't do it. You don't put any food in your body. You drink more water. Hunger pains will come. You will drink water, and you will understand that this is what it takes to reset your mind and reset your body and give you a sense of empowerment and control back. Now, for some people, this may be enough. When dinner comes, you can go back to preparing a sensible, whole food, plant-based dinner that doesn't have the garbage you were binging out on before in it, but it needs to be bland. Do not indulge your dinner in food that is full of flavors and spices and, worst of all, fat or high sugar. Your dinner needs to be bland. It needs to be white rice or brown rice cooked in the most basic of ways with some steamed vegetables. Or you need to have boiled potatoes or baked potatoes or roasted potatoes, lightly seasoned with whatever it is you like to season them with some vegetables, steamed vegetables. That's what your dinner needs to be. And you eat all of it you want. Eat all of the potatoes, all of the rice, or it could be beans. Cook you some beans. What do you like? Do you like lima beans? Do you like the little baby limas? Do you like, what do you like? You can do beans there too. I still encourage vegetables, steamed vegetables, or even better yet, raw vegetables, either one. You eat them till your heart's desire. You eat till you're so full you can barely function, but you will not have reactivated any of those chemical addictions in your brain because you will not have partaken of that food. You will not have partaken of the fat. You will not have partaken of the high sugar. You will not have partaken of the high salt. All of these things that are chemically addictive to combine with your emotional and psychological addiction that you already have as a person. And you reset your brain. Now, that's for most people, and if you'll be aware, you'll probably know if you can do that. For other people, you're not going to be there yet. You're going to have to skip dinner too. You got to just fast the whole day. Just do it. Just bite the bullet and fast the whole day and reset your brain, reset your taste buds, reset your system, and gain control back. Nothing will convince you that you've gained control back like fasting an entire day. Nothing. There's nothing you can do that will put you back in control like fasting an entire day. All of the dejection, all of the depression, all of the worry, all of the anxiety of going on a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day binge will disappear in 1 day if you do a 1 day fast. You immediately will gain control back, but you got to do it. You got to get that fast done. You have to take back control of your life, and you have to reset your body. So if that's you and you have to skip the dinner too, you don't think you're there yet, skip it. The downside to that is you don't need to eat breakfast the next morning. So it's going to be more than a 1 day fast. You need to skip breakfast too. There's just really, for most people, nothing good for breakfast other than fruits, about it. Just skip it and wait till you get to lunch. But the same thing, when you get to that meal you eat that day, it has to be a bland, not full of fat, not full of sugar, not full of anything like that meal. It needs to be a good, solid, fill your belly up, meal like baked, boiled, roasted potatoes, brown rice or white rice, limited seasonings. It's not full of fat. You don't fill it up full of oil or butter, any of that garbage, or beans, some kind of beans or lentils or something like that. These foods that are staples but are calorically light. They don't have a lot of calories, which means you can eat a ton of them, not get a bunch of calories. And then you will have reset your mind. You can beat binging. You can beat it, and you'll be better for it. And don't worry about erasing the 2 to 3 days damage done. Just don't worry about it. First of all, doing this fast for a day is going to pretty much wipe out one of those binge days. It'll just take it off the map, because if you average the 2 days out, and you take the overeating you did on one day and the no eating you did on the next day and divide it by 2, you will have halved the calories, essentially wiping out that 1 day of binging. So if you only went on a 1 day binge, you're completely wiping the effects of that out just by 1 day of fasting. Now, if you had a 2 day binge, you're pretty much still negating things. At least you're negating an entire day. So really, it's just a 1 day binge, and that's all you've got to recover from. So don't stress that. Recovering from a 1, 2, or 3 or 4 day binge or something is not hard. Recovering from a lifetime of overeating, a lifetime of emotional eating, a lifetime of psychological eating, that's what we're trying to beat. So compared to that, a 1 or 2 day binge is nothing. Don't worry about the binge. I hope that this has helped you. I'm not just quoting something I read in a book. This comes from my real life. I just went on a 2-3 day binge. I just went on one. I just did. I didn't gain any weight. Now, I had gained a few pounds before the binge. That was just normal weight fluctuations. I weigh myself every day, so I see the fluctuations up and down. But as a result of the binge, I haven't gained any weight from the binge. And it was about a 3 day binger. And I did the fast. I did the fast that whole day. The next day, my second day, I did eat. But of course, I hadn't eaten anything for breakfast. I waited till late in the day to eat. And I only ate about half the amount of calories that I normally would have eaten. So it was almost like a fast. And it's reset. The binge is gone. The cravings left. Trust me when I tell you that I know what I'm talking about. All of the things. Look, rewind this and listen to this podcast again and make sure you understand deep within your soul and within your being the things you have to accept and the mindset you have to be in when the binge comes. Be looking and recognizing to bail out, and then repair the damage immediately. I pour my soul out to you because I feel your pain, because it is my pain. I'm not an outside person trying to understand your pain. I'm not an outside person trying to wish I could comprehend what it's like when you have a serious eating disorder. I feel your pain because I have the pain. I live the pain. I've lived it for 40 years. Thanks for listening to the show. Go to Vegan Fat Guy, veganfatguy.com. You will see ways on all the episodes of the show that you can subscribe on iTunes or on Google Play. So no matter if you have an iPhone or if you have an Android phone, you can subscribe to the podcast. Please share this. If you saw it on Facebook, share it, because you may help save somebody's life. There may be an overweight person that's struggling and having a problem with binging that will see this posted on your page, and they'll listen to it, and you will change their life. It's the easiest way I know to change their life. And it'll make me happy, because my goal is to change not just my life, but help other people change theirs. I appreciate you guys. Hang in there.